Well, hello and Happy New Year, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to an all-new episode of PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight Series, the first of 2024. To be precise, we have reached episode number 194. Of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. That is our 194th trolley stop here on the program. We hope that all of you, wherever you are, wherever you may be, had a blessed, peaceful, and magical holiday season, that you're having a super awesome start to your 2024. We're looking forward to many, many wonderful trolley stops throughout the course of these next 360 plus days. My name is John Masiulionis, the manager of PR from the Heart and the host of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. But my little faithful furry friend and companion reminds me that he's the co-host as well too. He is the belle of the ball. Little Forrest is joining me once again as always. So if you hear him chomping on one of his collagen treats or a little burp burp over here, he's right on schedule. He's right on schedule. What can I say? I know, little guy, you are so excited for the start of the new year. And as we're starting the new year, many of us have New Year's resolutions. Raise your hand if you're into the New Year's resolutions. Every once in a while, we can do our part to be able to stick to those resolutions. But especially as we're entering a new year, this is really like the dawning of a new era in many respects. And there's times, especially when we want to learn something new, or even if we want to be able to perfect our craft, we can get down on ourselves. We can get frustrated. We can wonder why things aren't going our way, the way in which we want them to be able to go. And then there's times where we feel that we can wish something into reality. And yes, you can kind of get so far with that. But this may sound cliche. This may sound like the Hallmark card that you didn't get for the Christmas holiday, but it is so important that you take the time now more than ever before to not give up. To know the fact that with a mixture of, all of us enjoyed some holiday treats, I'm sure, during the Christmas season and the holiday season. But when you're baking brownies or cookies or a cake, you have those ingredients, right? So if you mix a little hard work, dedication, persistence, and perseverance, you truly will be able to get where you want to be. And it may even surprise you as to where it is that you land up going in the process. We are starting off the Children's Book Spotlight Series calendar year on the court. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, to head on over to the official website of our featured guest here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series. We encourage you to head on over to atqauthor.com. We also encourage all of you to head on over to Amazon.com. If that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, you can purchase your copy of Andrew Conquers the Court. It is now available courtesy of our friends and neighbors in Miriam Laundry Publishing, one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Antonietta, to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books, is to leave a 5-star review on Amazon. The trolley is going to a place where we spent some time previously. Of course, many of you may know, if you're longtime listeners, viewers, and followers of the program, I spent the first nearly 40 years of my life, maybe a little bit over that, out in the Western New York area. So a stone's throw away from Buffalo is Rochester, New York. And one of the awesome areas in Rochester is Webster. So we literally go cross country to start off the new year, from San Diego all the way to Webster, New York, in Rochester. Joining us as our featured guest here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series to kick off 2024 and our calendar year here on the program is children's author and educator Antonietta Quinn. Antonietta, we appreciate you spending some time with little Forrest and I. Happy holidays and happy start to your new year, to you and to your family. And you actually closed out 2023 by visiting one of the most magical places on earth. So you still must be on cloud 9 on your end of things.
Well, thank you, John, for having me. And happy holidays and happy New Year pretty soon. Yes, we were at Disney for part of the holiday. So it was with my family, and it was a really a great time, made lots of memories. So it was an exciting adventure for us.
Well, you're already making memories with the creation of your new children's book, which we're going to be diving into momentarily. If you are new to the program, of course, we are now entering into, I believe, year number 6 of the program. 2024 is going to be a banner year here at PR from the Heart, as later this year we will be officially celebrating the 6-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight series. But if you are new to the program, Antonietta, in addition to many of the other top children's authors and illustrators in the world of children's literature, they join us here on the program to be able to share their inspiring stories in the release of their brand new children's books. One of the many ways that you can pledge your support as well for Antonietta, as well as us here at the PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight series. These messages that we're going to be talking about: hard work, dedication, passion, perseverance, persistence, never giving up on yourself. Likely this is resonating with you, and likely there is someone or someone's in your life that can benefit from enjoying this Children's Book Spotlight series and hearing these inspiring messages that we're going to be discussing here today on our trolley stop. So we encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel and to share this very special trolley stop that you are now enjoying. That is episode number 194 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, as we are counting down to our 200th episode in just a few short weeks. We always love here on the program, Antonietta, being able to talk about authors' origin stories. And I really love origin stories that really connect with the heart. It really goes well with PR from the Heart, obviously. And anytime as well, too, there is a family connection, a connection with a loved one. That is something that really helps to make a story that much more powerful and that much more empowering as well, too. Now, in addition to now being a children's author, you're also an educator as well, too. So the origin story to creating Andrea Conquers the Court likely runs very deep. Could you tell us, for you, really where it all began? Before you knew that this book needed to be released and you wanted to step into the kid lit arena and become a children's author, when did you know that your work, that your mission, your passion, your purpose was meant to be for children? Where did that begin for you?
Well, John, it began when I was thinking about what I wanted to do when I went to college. I wanted to become an elementary school teacher, and that's where my passion for education really began. And maybe it actually began even earlier, because my sister and I used to play school in our family's basement with our chalkboard downstairs. So we both did that, and we both ended up being teachers. So teachers do run in our family as well. So I graduated from Mercyhurst College in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is my hometown. And after I graduated from Mercyhurst, I began teaching down in Northern Virginia in the Fairfax County school system, and taught mostly 5th and 6th grade. But even at that grade level, I would use a lot of books, children's books. Didn't have to be, it might have been at a 2nd, 3rd grade level, but oftentimes you can get students to be interested in a topic of study, or there's just a good message in a children's book that you want to share with your students. So I would use children's books a lot in my classroom and in my lessons. And it was at that point in time that I decided, sometime I'd like to write one of these children's books. And I didn't know when that was going to be or how it was going to happen, but that's kind of where it kind of crossed my mind, or something that kind of popped in my head as a goal for the future. So it started right around that range of time for me.
It's fascinating that it began that far back for you, that you had a connection with children's books already very early on. And I love how your story is already weaving, because so you have this early experience early on in life, and then you step into becoming an educator and a mom as well too. Could you kind of take us back to, like, if we took like Doc Emmett L. Brown's time machine and we went back to the future, and we could go back to those times? Were there those seeds that were already planted during that point where, again, likely it came to that point where you knew that this book had to come out? We'll talk about that momentarily. But did you already see the seeds being planted along the way when you stepped into officially being an educator, and then you brought your son Andrew into the world, who of course is the inspiration for Andrew Conquers the Court? Did you see those seeds really being planted along the way, or was it more of like this one-time experience where it was just like everything really came together?
Well, as an educator, you know how important reading is for students. And it was something we did a lot at home. We do a lot of reading children's books at home. And I would love to share. I loved sharing my favorite books with my kids. I don't think the idea really spurred on officially until I saw and watched what Andrew went through in his basketball journey. And as a mom, watching him progress through that journey, I realized that what he accomplished and what he was feeling at the time was probably what a lot of kids were feeling. And various comments and things from people in our community and teachers that Andrew had and coaches that he had is what really kind of, I felt like the timing of my career and the timing of those comments and things that I was hearing kind of came together at this one point where I was like, now's the time to write it.
I can only imagine being a mom on your end of things and seeing what Andrew was going through on his end. And again, this is, everything lands up coming beautifully in the form of this story, and it does have a happy ending, obviously. We'll dive into the pages of Andrew Conquers the Court momentarily, but could you really go back to that particular moment in time, if you could, when he was experiencing those challenges and those frustrations on your end of things? As a mom, sometimes like you want to be able to just wave that magic wand and make everything better, kind of thing. But you have to really trust in the fact that things land up working themselves out. And this is something that a lot of moms, dads, caregivers can resonate with, especially with children. So could you share with us what that specific experience was like? Because one of the things that we really want to convey during this episode of the Children's Book Spotlight series is that Andrew Conquers the Court, it's a basketball themed book. Yes, it's about basketball, but it's so much more than that as well too.
Yes, basketball is the vehicle that we use for the story, because basketball is Andrew's favorite sport, and he played it for many, many years, starting in third grade. Here where I live in Webster, they have a kind of like a travel team for our local area. And so he played on that team from third grade. Actually, from fourth grade on, he played for a church league in third grade, but then fourth grade on, he was playing in North Coast. And the whole goal is, of course, for kids to grow and learn and get better at the sport that they enjoy. And eventually, though, once you get to middle school, in seventh grade, you can try out for the school team. And so Andrew and his friends were very excited to try out for the school team. It was kind of the beginning of the modified program for the school in the school district. And he didn't make the team. And he actually was the only person in his friend group who didn't make the team. So that was really hard for him. And as you mentioned, John, as a mom, that is really hard to watch because, and to hear the disappointment, to see the disappointment in your child. And you're right, you want to fix it. Somehow you want to fix it. And honestly, you know, as a mom, you want to call up the coach and talk with the coach and see what's going on. But my husband and I, my husband also being very involved in sports his whole life, we talked about it and we knew that it was something that Andrew needed to do. So Andrew was reaching out to his coach, and in the meantime, his coach reached out to him through an email, because they have a school email system. And the coach basically said to him, you know, this was a really hard decision for me, but I do feel like you need to work on some skills like defense. And he said it was playing big. You know, Andrew was kind of a tall kid, but he needed to play big. Which basically means defense. You know, show him, get in there, play big, try to get the ball, be aggressive, that kind of thing. And Andrew wasn't quite there yet. So he took you know, the coach was wonderful in giving him that advice, and he took that advice. And Andrew will tell you today that for him in his sport, that was a turning point for him. There was something that clicked for him to where he said, I have to get better. I know that now, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get better. And that's where that journey began for him, was getting better to do the things that he needed to do in order to make the team the following year. So the next year was him working on his skills to get better, and he did get better, and he did make the team the following year as a starting player, which was really, really, I think, inspiring as a parent to watch. And also, I think, motivated him even more as a player to feel like he was moving in the right direction.
And I'm really glad to hear that everything did work itself out and that there was a lot of learning and growth along the way.
A lot, yeah.
When we're in the midst of something, we can wonder, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? We can go down the victimhood rabbit hole and just be immersed in all of that kind of muckety muck kind of thing. But when we take the time to slow down, pause, and say, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? Then that's when whatever it is that's trying to come in, whatever life specific experience or a series of experiences is trying to teach us, then we kind of settle in and say, okay, now I know what it is that I need to do. And this is one of my favorite things, not to kind of jump ahead of things, but one of the things that I really love about your book is how Andrew does something about it. He could have just sat on his laurels and said, woe is me. And, you know, again, could have been in that, but he didn't. So again, I really love how this book is helping kids, again, whether they're playing basketball, playing another sport, you know, playing the violin or the piano for the first time, whatever the case might be, to not necessarily give up, but to create a plan. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that as well, too, as we dive more into the pages momentarily of Andrew Conquers the Court. We hope that all of you are enjoying the start of your new year with us here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Joining us is our featured guest, one of the newest members of the PR from the Heart family, Antonietta Quinn, children's author and educator. We encourage all of you, if you haven't had the opportunities to do so, to head on over to Antoinetta's official website, atqauthor.com. We also encourage you to head on over to Amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, and to purchase your copy of Andrew Conquers the Court, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Miriam Laundry Publishing. One of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Antonietta to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books is to leave a 5-star review. For all educators all across the country, if you want to be able to connect with Antonietta to schedule your author school visit for 2024, we encourage you to be able to do so, especially all youth coaches that are out there as well too. This book, again, on and off the court, it may seem like a cliche, but there's so many lessons, whether you are a child, whether you were an adult, because let's be honest, Antoinette, and this is where I wanted to kind of segue before we dive more into the pages of your book momentarily. In essence, you were stepping into new terrain yourself on your end of things. Proud educator for nearly 30 years, and then it's like, okay, here's a children's book, right? So this was a newer experience for you. And in life, when we move through things for the first time, right, when we're learning something new, we can have challenges and difficulties and obstacles, problems, stressors, troubles, worries, kind of like the things that Andrew experienced in his own way. When you knew then that this book had to come out and you said the decision is made, here we go, you worked with the team at Miriam Laundry who did an incredible job with the book. What were some of the specific challenges that you faced early on? Like right after you knew, okay, this book is going to happen, what were some of the things that you moved through that are noteworthy that you wanted to share? And then what were some of the things that you feel helped you to get through to the other side of those challenges and difficulties?
Well, you're right. Miriam Laundry's publishing group was extremely helpful in showing me the ropes, so to speak, in how to write a children's book. And she had some amazing staff members, including Sharon Jennings, who was my editor for the book. I feel like that for me was one of the challenging parts because as an educator, I've been in the classroom, as I mentioned, and I've also been on the curriculum side of things. So I did a lot after being out of the classroom. I worked on a lot of science curriculum for elementary students. So it was very important for me when writing teachers' guides, student journals, and even small books. We would even write small books to get kids interested in whatever topic in science they needed to learn. And so I had to be very accurate and very factual and not create any misconceptions for kids in the elementary level, so that when they get up to the middle and high school level and take those levels of science, they weren't going to think something was happening in whether it was life science or earth science or astronomy, whatever, earth and space science, that they were going to have a conception of something that wasn't correct. So I had to, like I said, it had to be very accurate. So as a writer now of a children's book, I felt like that was my experience in my writing. So I continued to kind of write that way. And Sharon, she really helped me see how to bring emotion into my writing, which I was not as, I had done a lot of writing, like I said, the other way with curriculum and such, but I had not really put much thought or really the need for that emotion piece coming in. So that is where she really guided me, and also kind of making sure that the story was concise and fit within those 32 pages, but also that the pages weren't too wordy, or that we let the illustrations do some of the talking as well. And I was very fortunate to work with Ava Morales. She was an absolutely fantastic illustrator, and she really brought the story to life. So there were some challenges, but I had a team behind me that were able to help me overcome those.
The fact that you had that support system, that there's a mirroring effect to that as well too, because especially when Andrew in the story is moving through his own doubts and insecurities, he obviously has the support of his family, especially the support of his mom, right? And
yes, of course.
Reflecting from real life. And also the fact that he had the support from his coach. There's times where, recent experience, and it's football related, but not basketball related. There's been some trouble in paradise with the Denver Broncos between their head coach Sean Payton and their quarterback Russell Wilson. Sometimes a coach and a player can be on opposite ends of the spectrum. The coach doesn't want anything to do with the player doesn't want to do anything with the coach, right? But this was a little bit different. Andrew was receiving support from his coach saying, okay, listen, I believe in you. It's important that you believe in yourself. Here's the things to be able to take the time to work on. So I can only imagine that provided a greater level and layer of support for Andrew when he basically said, okay, now it's time to create a plan. And one of the things that we always love doing here on the Children's Book Spotlight series is when we dive into the pages of said children's book that we are sharing. And one of the things that I can really relate to, and really many kids I know can relate to, and even adults as well too, and you have this even in italics, there's a part of the story that reflects on page 17, maybe I wasn't good enough. That is the beloved spiritual teacher and New York Times bestselling author, Dr. Wayne Dyer, would call that Morse code. Da-da-da-da. I am stupid. Da-da-da-da. I am not worthy. Da-da-da-da. I'm unlovable. And we have this belief that is not necessarily true, right? And it's a matter of not listening to that, to the doubts, to the fears, to the insecurity, to that particular voice, so to speak. So again, the fact that Andrew noticed that and he did something about it. He didn't allow his disbelief in him to bring him down in the opposite direction. He really did something about it. I also love the fact that, and I believe this was on page, I think like 18 and 19, if I'm not mistaken, there's a very powerful quote by NBA Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade. And it says, my belief is stronger than your doubt. And you see Andrew, actually, we're sharing this on screen here, Andrew taking the time and just gazing at that. Not even just like looking at it, he's gazing at it. He's fixated on that. So obviously, again, when you take a look at someone like Dwayne Wade, who is, has achieved every single kind of accolade in the world of basketball, going back from high school to college, all the way to his time with the Miami Heat. And now he's, I believe, a part owner or in the management group of the Utah Jazz. And so knowing the fact that you can connect with these sorts of people and quotes and things of that nature, how important was it to weave in that powerful quote, especially because, again, you could have just, made a small mention of it in passing, hey, don't give up. But it was literally a powerful point in your story where Andrew's sitting on his bed and he's taking a look at that. And it's like, if Dwayne Wade can do it, I can do it. How important was that to you to weave that into the story?
Well, it was important because it was all true. And, Andrew did have that quote, and I'm not exactly sure when that quote kind of became a mantra for him, but it really did. And he had the quote in his, and once we knew that was the quote that really spoke to him, we put it in his, we had something made that was in his room. And so he looked at that quote and he did it not only just at the time where he, in middle school, but even in high school when he was playing varsity, that was, again, I think something that was always going through his mind was that idea that you have to believe in yourself first. And if you don't, then that is not going to help you. That is not going to go well for you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can achieve whatever goal that you have. You believe in yourself first. And so it was his senior quote in his senior yearbook. And he has the quote with him today in his dorm room at college. And people ask me, did he really have that quote in his room? And yeah, he really, really did. And I knew that quote was special to him. So I felt it was really important to include that because it was, for other kids, it may be a different quote that speaks to them or something that they hear that speaks to them that is important. But for Andrew, it was that. And I think it kind of conveys the whole idea of, I have to believe that I'm capable in this. And you may not think that I'm able to do it, or there might be some doubts by outsiders, but if I believe it within myself, that is going to make a huge difference.
And when the story then continues on, like also one of my favorite illustration spreads is you see Andrew and he's dribbling 2 basketballs. And you see the clock behind him. And Andrew's an early riser.
Yes, he was.
6:10 a.m. So when you've heard success stories about like the work of Kobe Bryant, and you even heard the term, it's still in existence even after his passing, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like doing the things that will further you along, that will help you to perfect your craft. And Andrew is actually doing those things as well too. I also have to mention, just the book is so vibrant and it's so colorful as well too. So there's so many things that make Andrew Conquers the Court truly stand out as well too. So for example, you see like Andrew shooting the basketball and you see this like you see basketball going like that. Could you share with us, as you were seeing the book come to life, because one of the things working with the team at Miriam Laundry, you were likely able to see kind of the process unfold as it was created. There are times when authors work with, and they're being published by like Simon & Schuster, for example, they have to trust the fact that the illustrator who's working is like their second heart or their third hand, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you're working with a hybrid publisher, you're self-publishing your story, you have the opportunity to have a little bit more either creative input or can see like more of the work as it unfolds, so to speak. Talk to us about like now the fact that you hold the book in your hand, the feedback that you've seen, especially from the perspective of the illustrations, and really and truly bringing Andrew's story to life. What has been some of the feedback that you've received from the visual aspects of the story?
I received so much positive feedback on the illustrations, and that was Ava and I communicated through emails and things like, because Ava lives in Spain and I'm here in Webster. So we did a lot we did everything really through emails and pictures. Like I send her pictures of some of the people in the book, because those are real people. His coach is his coach that looks like that. And actually everyone that sees the book that knows the coach here in Webster is just the first thing that they'll say. They'll just be he's a well-loved coach in our area. So they know exactly who it is. So she just really took that. Plus the 2 boys in the story, Will and Jackson, are mentioned in the story. Those are 2 of his closest friends from school. And so I was able to send her pictures of them, pictures of the gym that they played in, pictures of our basketball court outside of our house, or, in our driveway, things like that I was able to send to her just to give her a feel of where they played, the uniforms, that kind of thing. And so I kind of just, we divided up the story as we felt like it would work on the pages. And then I would give her kind of like, this is what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning this, and this on this page. And she used the pictures and that I sent her. And really, I mean, it was probably my favorite part of this whole process was seeing her pictures and the story coming to life through her illustrations. It really did. And I couldn't have been more pleased working with her. And I was actually a little nervous about, choosing an illustrator, because you do have a vision for your story and they have a vision as an artist. And so you're hoping that the vision's aligned, and they really did align for us. I couldn't have been more pleased with what she came up with. And I think, and many people have commented on the illustrations in the book, which is fantastic.
And the story, again, the overall arc of the story, right? Being able to when you're weaving in someone's real life story, real life journey, and when you have a children's book, there's only a certain number of pages, right? So you had to be able to really shine the light on the important moments and kind of like bring it, like hone it on in, so that it wasn't, because I'm sure that the book could have obviously been longer if you chronicled every single time from when Andrew didn't make the team to when he did make the team as well too. The feedback that I'm really excited to hear about, you mentioned about parents and those in your community and educators. Andrew's got to be like tickled pink, as the expression is. I haven't used that expression in a while, but it's just like, I can only imagine, like, if you have a book written about you, especially a children's book, like what has that been for him? Because obviously he's now older and he probably has more wisdom on his end of things, but I can kind of sense that he probably has a really strong appreciation for you bringing the story to life and knowing the fact that he's helping kids. How is all that making him feel?
Yeah, he is, I think, well, I brought the idea to him, and he was very supportive from the very beginning. I didn't know, sometimes with kids, they feel, a little, maybe, with their friends or whatever, like they might feel a little embarrassed or, being highlighted or whatever. But he was very supportive and just encouraged me to move forward with it. And so he's been really thrilled seeing it come together, and he's gone with me on some book signings in our local area, and it's exciting, I think, for him to see how it's impacting other kids, because he sees the kids come to these signings and talk with us, and we talk with the parents, and they either understand the story or identify with it in some way. And so he realizes that that what he went through as a player really is something that has taught him a lot in his life as well. So it's the idea of, basketball was the vehicle, but the learning that came with it really is a metaphor for life, because we know that we don't always get the job or get the part in the play or get the thing that we want in life, and we have to figure out how either to change gears or figure out how to do better so that we can reach those goals. So he's been thrilled with it, and I'm really glad, and I'm really so happy that his story could be highlighted like this.
This is a beautiful story. I'm really glad that we're starting off the year sharing Andrew Conquers the Court here. We are beginning to wind down our time with our feature guest here, children's author and educator Antonietta Quinn, here on episode number 194 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, as we're kicking off the new year here at PR from the Heart. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Antoinetta's official website, atqauthor.com. You can also head on over to Amazon.com if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. One of the many ways you can pledge your support for Antonietta to be able to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, and educators is by leaving a 5-star review for Andrew Conquers the Court as well. For all educators all across the country, we encourage you to be able to connect with Antonietta via her official website as well to schedule your author school visit for the 2024 school year. I know that basketball season is really starting to heat up. We're just a stone's throw away from March Madness as well. So basketball, since we're starting to near the end of the football season, that's when basketball truly takes center stage as well too. So again, perfect timing that we're kicking off the new year here at the Children's Book Spotlight series, talking about Andrew Conquers the Court. One of the things that we'd love to be able to do here, Antonietta, on the Children's Book Spotlight series is to provide useful and supportive tips, tools, strategies for parents, caregivers, grandparents, educators, that they can immediately extract from a Children's Book Spotlight series and implement it, not even into just their own lives, but the lives of their children, the lives of their students on their end of things as well, too. Kids over the past several years, like if you just look back at, let's say, the past 3 to 4 years, whether it be between the pandemic, between COVID, between Black Lives Matter, between politics, like our kids have gone through a heck of a lot of stuff. And then you envision, you really see the fact how social media is playing more of an influence, and sometimes not necessarily for the better as well, too. Kids can be bullied. Kids can get really down on themselves. And there's so many, this is one of the things that one of the reasons why I love doing this program and continue to do it, is because there's so many children that are on so much unneeded medication to be able to deal with, things like self-doubt and not feeling loved, not feeling worthy. When if they just know, if they can connect to that belief within them that they're loved, whole, healthy, complete, special, children's books have that healing effect. What are some of the things that we can do as parents and caregivers to encourage our kids to believe in themselves even more, where we're not just giving, random gobbledygooks and, giving them quotes, even though the quotes may be, really powerful? What are some things that we can do so that children feel that belief on a deep, visceral level on their end of things?
Well, I think one of the things is realizing that when our kids go through things that are disappointments, or I don't want to say, failures, but if they, they don't succeed at something that they want to succeed at, that those can be great learning experiences for them. That we don't have the view of you failed or you didn't get this, now it's over and it's done. Because I really want, especially with this story, I want kids to feel as though Andrew's story can be their story as well. And they can do those things. And in the encouragement from parents, from coaches, from teachers, and really getting that mindset of, I didn't quite make it this time, but there are things I can do in order to get better, and I can try again. I think that's a really important mindset for kids, so they don't feel those types of worries and anxieties about, I have to make it, I have to do well the first time. If that happens, great. But if it doesn't, there are things that can be done. So it's for kids to really understand that it's not the end. It may just be the very beginning of something even bigger than what you thought was going to happen. So being a listening ear to them as well, and understanding those disappointments, because one of the things I feel like Andrew at the time really felt was, that he felt left out from his friend group. They would talk about basketball. Of course they did. They were on the team and they were participating in it. And when they would talk about that, he would feel a little left out. But we were there to talk with him about, that's a very natural thing, and that he's going to have that opportunity again in the future to try out and get on the team the following year. And I think it's so important just to give our kids those opportunities to reach out to coaches and other people in the community that can help them and give them a direction of where they should go next.
And I'm really glad that you touched upon this. One of the proud members of the PR from the Hart family had shared this on social media. This fits in so perfectly. At age 23, Tina Fey, of course, from Saturday Night Live,
Yes.
was working at a YMCA. At age 23, Oprah was fired from her first reporting job. At age 24, Stephen King was working as a janitor and living in a trailer. At age 27, Vincent van Gogh failed as a missionary and decided to go to art school. At age 28, J.K. Rowling was a single parent living on welfare who was clinically depressed and at times contemplated suicide. At age 28, Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips was a fry cook. At age 30, Harrison Ford was a carpenter. At age 30, Martha Stewart was a stockbroker. At age 37, Ang Lee was a stay-at-home dad working odd jobs. Julia Child released her first cookbook at age 39 and got her own cooking show at age 51. Vera Wang failed to make the Olympic figure skating team, didn't get the editor-in-chief position at Vogue, and designed her first dress at age 40. Stan Lee didn't release his first big comic book until he was 40. Alan Rickman gave up his graphic design career to pursue acting at age 42. Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his first major movie role until he was 40. Morgan Freeman landed his first major movie role at age 52. Catherine Bigelow only reached international success when she made The Hurt Locker at age 57. Grandma Moses didn't begin her painting until age 76. Louise Bourgeois didn't become a famous artist until she was 78. Whatever your dream is, it is not too late to achieve it. You aren't a failure because you haven't found fame and fortune by the age of 21. It's okay if you don't even know what your dream is yet. Even if you're flipping burgers, waiting tables, or answering phones today, you'll never know where you'll end up tomorrow. Never tell yourself you're too old to make it. Never tell yourself you missed your chance. Never tell yourself that you aren't good enough. You can do it, whatever it is that sets your soul on fire. That is powerful. And even kind of looking back on Andrew's journey, it didn't take him, like, he didn't have to, wait until he was, the age of Morgan Freeman to,
right,
to achieve success at basketball. And I really feel that we live in a society, like, the construct of time has changed, right? Like, you literally go from being here to being here overnight. And I feel this is, again, where hard work, like the ingredients to baking the successful, delicious cake of 2024, right? That's gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, soy-free, all of the frees, right? But the fact that it's the dedication, it's the hard work, it's the passion, it's the perseverance, it's the persistence, it's the faith in yourself, it's the belief in yourself as well, too. Starting off the new year as well, too, we always like to be able to do our part to be able to provide some words of encouragement and support. There's, I'm sure, a lot of parents that are out there, educators that are out there that have a lot on their plate. The holidays, maybe it was a little bit of a downtime. Maybe it was even stressful during the holidays, so to speak. And with kids right now, again, they're going to be settling back into classrooms as well, too, because the Christmas break is over with. Some kids may get a little bit of a longer break into January before going back. But what are some words of encouragement and support that you would like to share with both kids as well as adults who are stepping into a new arena for the first time? They're trying something, or maybe they're going back to the drawing board. Maybe they're saying, you know what, this is the year, right? Because this is what happens every year. You start the year, this is going to be the year. This is going to be my year. And then oftentimes, like 2 weeks afterwards, it's like, nah, it's the same old, the same old song and dance. What are some words of encouragement and support that you would like to share with kids and adults to be able to start the new year so that they know that 2024 is their year?
Well, like we said before, believe in yourself. You have to have that strong belief within yourself before anyone else is going to. So you really have that within you. And also to, I guess, make a commitment to yourself. And, I think with this, that was something that I watched Andrew do. He really had this goal, this commitment to get better and to make the team to do what he needed to do. And so he made that commitment to himself, and he never backed down from that commitment, which was another really awesome thing to watch. Is he made that commitment within himself. And he would also always say, even as a mom, like I was watching him get up at 6 a.m. in the morning to dribble in the garage, to practice his dribbling skills. And I would be like, you need to sleep in a little bit. You need to get your sleep. And he would say, Mom, if I don't go practice, somebody else is in their garage practicing and they're getting better. I have to go out there and get better. So it was that mindset of, I'm not going to let someone else get ahead of me. I'm going to stick to my program. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. And he felt like he was getting a little closer to that goal every day.
And that's something where, again, even if you just make that little bit of progress every day, and there's times like you probably heard of, like the blacksmith, right? When he keeps striking and eventually it's that perfect strike, or when bamboo shoots up, right? It can take some time. So again, it may sound cliche. You might be listening, you might be watching and saying, I've heard this before, believe in yourself. And it's like, again, it's you can get very cynical and very jaded. And it's really important that with every fiber of your being that this is your year and that you can do whatever it is that you want to be able to do in the process. One of the many ways that we always begin to close out our episodes here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series, we're huge fans of Mr. Rogers, of course, the host of the beloved long-running children's television program on PBS, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And in many ways, he was our biggest cheerleader. He was our favorite neighbor because he always helped us to remember our worth and our value. And at the same point in time, he also reminded us of those people on our path that are in our lives that were our fellow cheerleaders, those who told us, who encouraged us, who inspired us to never give up, to believe in ourselves. And he did this in many ways through his time on the Neighborhood, when he spoke all across the country at college commencement speeches and talks. He encouraged all of us, and he always kept the time, Antonietta, whether it be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or a full 60 seconds. And he most notably did this when he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmy, shortly before he passed from stomach cancer. He encouraged us to remember those who helped love us into being. Who are some of the people that you would like to publicly recognize here on episode number 194 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series that helped love you, Antonietta Quinn, into being?
Well, first, my husband, it was a huge supporter of mine. He encouraged me to take that step when I wasn't sure if I should or I could. Again, I needed to believe in myself a little bit more. And when I didn't, he was there to help me believe in myself. My kids, Andrew, of course, and I have a younger son, Sean, they both were like, yeah, Mom, do it. That's awesome. Let's make it happen. And they've been supporting me the whole time as well. So those are the people, my family members. My parents unfortunately weren't able to see this happen, but it's one of the reasons why I use my maiden name on the book, was to recognize, because I just thought my parents would get a kick out of that, especially my dad, see his last name on a children's book. So I use that as part of my author name. I have a sister and her family who thought this was all very cool as well. So, and so many, I cannot forget the community, my friends in the community, but also just the whole community of Webster. Was anybody I talked to, they were so supportive and excited about this story. And they remembered Andrew's story too. A lot of the moms that I know that whose, kids are the same age, they would say, yeah, I remember when all that happened. And it's really amazing because, as in the book, in the end, on the very last page, it really tells the full kind of true story of, the book was inspired by the story, but then goes on and tells where Andrew, kind of ended up. as a senior varsity player at his high school. He was really, recognized and seen by the whole, community and won many accolades. So they remembered and really saw that whole process. So they were so encouraging and supportive. And I just couldn't have been more embraced I was humbled, truly humbled by it. And I'm very thankful that they were as excited about it as I was when they heard the story was coming out.
Well, this is why we are super excited here at PR from the Heart to be able to kick off the new year, to be able to help you share your message all across the country, because not only is this just not a basketball themed story, this isn't necessarily a Rochester based story as well too. Right. There are so many kids. There's kids in every single city across the country, ranging from Rochester over to Los Angeles and in between, that can relate to Andrew, that experience something similar to, akin to, in their own way as well. And so stay connected, by the way, with social media here at PR from the Heart, and you will see all of the magical trolley stops that Antonietta will be making along the way over the course of these coming weeks and months ahead. We always like to close out our children's book spotlight series as well, because we're also, in addition to being huge fans of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and really in our own way keep his memory and legacy alive through the work that we're doing for children and for children's authors. But we're also Disney buffs at the Children's Book Spotlight series. I think I mentioned how my first trip to Disneyland several years on back, I kind of try to do Disneyland in 7 hours, maybe even less, and you can't do it. But one of the things that Disney Magic helps us to remember is that we have the ability to bring, to form, and to shape our dreams, our desires, our goals, our ambitions. We can truly fulfill our own wishes, and we can encourage other people to be able to do the same. And so we go back to the year 1992. It was a great year. We remember the late Robin Williams. We remember how he, of course, voiced the Genie of the Lamp in Disney's Aladdin. We have a little segment that we like to call 3 Wishes. So, Antonietta, you have been giving back so freely to not only to your son, to your family, to everyone in Webster and Rochester, but now to children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books across the country and around the world. So this is your opportunity to receive. And it's interesting because normally when authors come aboard the program, they're like, wait, let me get this straight. This was an interview, and now I'm getting 3 wishes from the universe. This is pretty cool, right? So you are being given 3 wishes today. I think the only automatic disqualifier is, as the Genie of the Lamb said, you can't make someone fall in love with you. You can't ask for more wishes, but anything else is fair game. So what would your 3 wishes be?
Well, wow, that's a good one. Well, of course, my first wish always is that my family is healthy and happy, and they're doing their thing. Andrew at school, Sean at high school, and my husband, and that they're all doing okay and everything. That's always my first wish, of course. My second wish would be to also, continue to spread the news about the book and to write more books in the future. Like I mentioned, I have another son, Sean, so he's going to have a story, I'm sure. We don't quite know what his story is yet, but he will inspire me, I'm sure, at some point, because he's a great kid and has a lot of exciting things ahead of him. And my third wish, I guess, would be, let me think here. My third wish would be, this is a hard one. I guess would be to, continue to support other. Can it be anything? Any wish at all?
It can be any wish, as long as it's not those 2 automatic disqualifiers. But anything else, I believe, is fair game.
Yeah. I think at one point we talked about a family trip to Europe at some point. So I would add that in at the end there as kind of like a fun thing in the future. I mean, my family's from Italy, and so I want to share that with my boys at some point. And so yeah, so I would like to do that at some point.
That's
My third wish.
that is a totally amazing wish. I know that there's at least two trips overseas that I've envisioned. One is visiting Prague, because they have beautiful architecture out in Prague, as well as Paris. But then I've also seen myself, like, I remember growing up, I was a big fan of Wimbledon and watching, the tennis, and, eating the strawberries and cream and watching tennis at the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. I believe that's what it's called in London. Then going to Okinawa, Japan. I still remember when I watched Karate Kid Part 2, which was, the backdrop was Okinawa, and then I learned several years later that the movie was filmed in Hawaii. It wasn't filmed in Okinawa, so kind of like,
I didn't know that. Yeah,
it bursted a little bubble for me. But yes, and it's always been said that if your wishes come from your heart, they have a greater chance of coming to fruition. Raise your hand if you have had fun on episode number 194 of the Children's Book Spotlights. You see hands from Antonietta, hands from myself. You see,
I had a lot of fun.
And shortly you will be seeing paws up on screen. We see the hands from the kiddos as well, of course, on screen, which we like to say that means mission accomplished, job well done. But now you're seeing the paws up on screen for a reason, because if you remember, many years ago, the beloved film critic duo Siskel and Ebert, when they loved a film, they gave it 2 thumbs up. Well, when little Forrest loves a children's book, and thankfully he's been enjoying his nice collagen treats, so you haven't heard him a little bark and yelp
yet,
but he has probably given 2 paws up for Andrew Conquers the Court, which is one of the highest endorsements in the world of children's literature as well, too. And again, there are many more magical trolley stops to come, but before we officially put the finishing touches on episode number 194 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, once again, we encourage you to head on over to Antoinetta's official website, atqauthor.com. We encourage you to stay connected with her on social media so you can continue the conversation post Children's Book Spotlights. We've included her social media platforms below on Instagram, Facebook, and as what we like to refer to, the artist formerly known as Twitter. You can't call it X, it just doesn't really feel right. So stay connected with Antonietta on social media. And again, for all educators out there as well, too, we encourage you to head on over to her official website and to be able to connect with her, to be able to schedule your author school visit for your little ones, for your students in 2024. Again, either by Antoinetta's official website or heading over to Amazon.com. You can purchase your copy, again, of Andrew Conquers the Court. It is now available. Be sure to leave a 5-star review on Amazon if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, if you feel guided to do so as well, too. But again, there are many more magical trolley stops to come throughout the calendar year. That is now 2024. Sometimes, when you start off the new year, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to saying the new year.
Right.
So if you are a children's author or a middle grade author and would love to be able to share your inspiring story on a forthcoming edition of the Children's Book Spotlight series, we're super excited, by the way, because truly we see in our sites, episode number 200 is literally just upon the horizon. But if you would like to be able to share your inspiring story in the release of your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Children's Book Spotlight series in 2024, connect with us via our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen, Facebook, Instagram, and the artist formerly known as Twitter, all at PR From The Heart. We are super excited to spend more quality time with one of our favorite friends and neighbors. You remember him and you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program that we mentioned once or twice or thrice, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. David Newell, again, coming off the heels of being honored by the Emmy Awards, being inducted into their first ever Gold Circle. David is now 50 years in the world of children's television, and we are now just on the horizon of celebrating our 3rd anniversary of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, which is the popular children's book review program that David Newell and we co-host. We deliver, as a little tip of the cap to his character, we deliver new reviews from the top children's books that are available on the market from published and self-published authors so that you know what is available for your little ones and for your students. Some of the best books of 2024 we're going to be sharing on forthcoming editions of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So we encourage you to connect with us. If you are a children's author and would love for David and I to review your brand new book on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, you can connect with us via our social media platforms or via our official website as well. And a little sneak preview, you will see David, you will see myself, and you will see Antonietta as we will all be together in the month of April, as we will be returning back to the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the campus of Point Park University, one of the most prestigious broadcasting schools in the country, where we will be releasing our April in-studio installment of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So put a pin in that, put a little star, a little asterisk by that. You can look forward to the month of April in the process. And again, just as we are doing for Antonietta, and just as we have the pleasure, privilege, and honor of doing for many children's authors in the kid-lit community, some of the top names in the world of children's literature, ranging to those who are just beginning their author journey. If you are looking for dedicated PR support, if you really say 2024 is the year where not only my story needs to be shared, but I need to get this book out into the world, it can be a very overwhelming process, and you really want to be able to truly believe in your heart that you know that you can do it, and that 2024 is not only your year, but it's the year of the children's author and the year of the children's book as well, too. So it's kind of like winning the lottery. When you have 2024 being your year, then 2024 is the year of the children's author and also the year of the children's book. Let us see how we can be of support and service to you. Connect with us via our official website, prfromtheheart.com. Schedule your courtesy connection call. We are just a few months away from celebrating our 10-year anniversary of being of service to children's authors in the kid-lit community. So let us see how we can be of service to you and proudly join the PR from the Heart family. One final time, again, you can head on over to Antoinetta's official website, atqauthor.com and amazon.com. Purchase your copy of Andrew Conquers the Court, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Miriam Laundry Publishing. Be sure to leave that 5-star review in the process if you feel guided to do so. And again, for all educators all across the country, you can schedule your author's school visit with Antonietta in 2024 by heading on over to her official website. We hear the trolley. That means that it is time to go. We encourage all of you, if this episode has lifted your spirits to start off 2024, if it's opened your heart, if you say, yes, 2024 is my year, and I know that I can conquer whatever it is that I want to be able to do in this brand new year. We encourage you to be able to subscribe, if you haven't had the chance to do so, to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel. Share this very special trolley stop that you are now enjoying, that you have enjoyed. That is episode number 194 of the children's book Spotlight Tuesday. And we encourage all, we want to extend our gratitude to all of you who have continued to support our YouTube channel, especially as we are now approaching 10,000 subscribers, which will be happening very soon. We want to thank you again for your continued support, PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight series, for your continued support of children's authors and illustrators such as Antonietta, who are doing, again, wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books, for your continued support of the pillars of our community, local libraries and children's and independent bookstores. But above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world. One final time, we feel the presence, the spirit of Mr. Rogers. As I mentioned previously, he reminded us of our inherent worth and value. He reminded us of how loved and how special that we were, that we still are, even though it's been 20 years since his passing. So, and interestingly enough, he actually helped us to remember this through his own private numerology. The man somehow weighed 143 pounds throughout his whole entire natural adult life. 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. As Antonietta and little Forrest were kind to be able to spend some free time with us here to kick off 2024, we close out by saying and sharing our 3 favorite numbers of 2, 4, 3. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. That is our reminder that you are loved, that you are whole, that you are healthy, that you are complete, that you are special, that we like you, that we love you just the way that you are, that we see your inherent worth and value in the process, and that, yes, you can make the game-winning basket and then some each and every day of your life. For little Forrest, for Antonietta Quinn, for myself, John Masiulionis. Happy New Year once again. We appreciate you spending some time with us, as always, here in our neighborhood. But again, 2024, here's to a wonderful year. And yes, a little subliminal advertising. This cup does say good things are coming. That's a pretty good mantra for 2024, don't you think?
I like it.
Thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Goodbye for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.